Hey YouTube, Housewives of Atlanta, the real Housewives of Atlanta. And that's season 14, episode 2, Renew. And Britt talks with her husband as to why she had her boobs out when she was inebriated, and say she had to protect her outfit. In her words, her fit. And Cynthia and Drew, this their little segment. And then Drew tells Cynthia that the ride home was good until it was thrown up by Britt. And then Kelly and Shamia about how you can't keep it you can't keep it, just release it. So if you can't keep it, then just release it. And I said, well, sometimes when you do be like that, okay. And then Angela, I'm sorry, y'all. I laugh every time that Angela talks about Charles, because I remember how Charles Oakley was basketball-wise. He's a butthole. And then Angela calls Charles and says that she talked to her husband on her anniversary, which was the following day. And she said in the confessional, they are falling in love a little every day. Girl, what? Y'all are? All right, girl. All right. And then he sends her to voicemail because she called him another time. A second time. Then he sent her to voicemail. Then I said, okay, so he gonna send her to voicemail every time she calls. And then by the third time, boop, boop, boop. I said, oh my Lord, have mercy. The T-Mobile subscriber that you have called is not available. I said, oh Lord, no, not the T-Mobile. And then Phaedra stated that if Kelly needs a pasty, she has one in her drawer. Then she went to say that, Kelly, she has some bazookas pretty much. And she said she's just such a short frame. And she said just explode. I said, And then Shamia is saying how that her bags cannot be located, attracted all. And the ladies, they all gather. And Faye had some good breakfast prepared by the chef. So she was fine. She was good. And that chef, that food it was so good. I said, now look, I ain't no chef. But yeah, dang. Make me put my previous dish that I made, shrimp and grits, to shame. I said, ooh, wee. And it don't hurt that he is very, very easy on the eyes. And then Cynthia says that she wants to hear what everyone is saying. Pretty much they be so loud. And then she was mainly talking about how Kelly be in her ear. And some good breakfast was, prepared. Oh, Lord. Then Drew says that Britt had the crystal, which she did have a crystal. Then she turned to talk about, Apollo. And I'm like, girl, what? What's going on? It's like, it should just be like subject hopping. And that's what I was trying to figure out what she be doing. She be subject hopping. And I think that she subject hops to keep everything off of her. I'm like, all right then, girl. Okay. And the ladies, they all split up. Cynthia and Shamia and Portia, as well as Faye. And then Portia says that Britt cannot hold her liquor, which we know she cannot. And then, then Shamia talks about driving. Just like she talked about, she couldn't wait. She couldn't wait to jump down Britt's love back. And she talked about she brought her a little bitty box. I mean, I'm like, she should have said a Dollar Tree box, girl, because that Kleenex and that tissue, that was from Dollar Tree. And if the tissue wasn't from Dollar Tree, the tissue was from Dollar General. And she was talking about how, which is going to be true, she was talking about how that she rolling in a Rolls Royce and Birkin bags, and then she had that little bitty box. And then she said that she turned around and said that she has more, and I guess her more was just extra $250. And meanwhile, Angela, Drew, and Kelly, and Britt, they in the car, and just notice, somebody said in their car, "Ooh, can we stop and get some barbecue?" I said, "Oh my goodness, not the barbecue." And then Drew said that she wants to get to know Phaedra, and Kelly said that her and Phaedra, they have, mutual friends. And Faye said that she has not met Angela to the standard, pretty much, that she would like to get to know her. And I'm like, well, Phaedra, just talk to her. Just talk to her, girl. And then, but she says she hung with Charles. Now, here it is. She said that she hung with Charles and said that he used to be that dude. And she ain't lying. He did. And for the longest, I'm 35. And I used to watch basketball. And when I used to watch basketball back in Charles Oakley days, I used to always, unfortunately, know who was married to who and all that stuff, because they used to come to the games with them. I've never seen Angela at the game. Okay. So, and then she said that Charles, and this Phaedra now, she said Charles was always a good time, and that she never knew him to be married. And I said, well, maybe he was very, very private. He was crazy though. And they are going to hang out with the Prime Minister later on. And they go walking down the trail. Shamia, Portia, Phaedra, and Cynthia. And that trail was so beautiful to the waterfalls, y'all. Waterfalls. And then they are going to hang out, of course, with the Prime Minister and all that stuff. And they walk the trail. And then the other ladies, Drew, Angela, Kelly, and Britt, they learn about cooking. The Grenada dishes and all that. Learn about how good the Grenada dish is going to be. And then there was a chef over there. And get some cocktails from an all-black distillery, an alcohol distillery. And I said, wow, I have never heard of all-black distillery. I haven't. And Kelly said that the men in Grenada are fine. And I'm like, girl, you ain't never lied. I said, woo. They are fine now. And then Shamia and the ladies, they take photos. And then Shamia and Portia look pretty, as well as Cynthia and Faye. And then Shamia, she said that she just didn't, she don't think that she looks the best and all that stuff. And she was just pretty much saying that she don't think that she looks good. And I'm like, Shamia, girl, you done had a whole baby. And you're in your 40s, girl. I said, you are drop dead gorgeous. She really is. And then the ladies that cooked got some food. And they got served some food by the chef, of course. And then Phaedra, Faye, and Cynthia and Shamia. So Phaedra, Cynthia, and Shamia. Yeah, her. And Shamia, they get, their drinks. And then Angela, too. I forgot about Angela. Did Angela come with them? Who remembers? I remember the people that mattered. But they all get their drinks and all that stuff. And then, Portia, she the rum punch girl. She said rum punch all the time. And I'm like, girl, you know what? I'll be like that too. Because I love some good rum punch. When I tell you I love some good rum punch, I do. And then Portia said that Brit, when she was sitting up there drinking and all that stuff. And then Brit said that she has not, and now they getting served food on their end. Angela and Brit, Angela, Brit, Kelly, and Drew. They getting food served and all that stuff. And then Brit said she has not had beef or pork in years. And Portia said Brit seemed shady. I mean, she said that Brit seems, I don't know what she said. She pretty much seemed off to her. And then she said, but she wants to get to know you or whatever. And then she just blurted out about, how, but she wants to know why Apollo came up. And then that's what Portia said, that Brit seems to, be very, very interested in other people's relationships. And then she sure did ask, well, why Apollo didn't come and all that stuff. You know how Phaedra, she'll be, you sure? And she said, well. Oh my goodness, that just be killing. And she said, Britt said that she just needs to get to know people. And then Portia seconded and said, well, maybe Britt do need to get to know people so she can, know how the group works. And then Kelly shows a pic of a black napkin. Now, I had to think about what she picked up, and then she said, do you know who this is? She showed that napkin to Drew and asked, who is it? I picked up, and Drew said that she has been hanging out with Black pretty much, and said that they're friends. And she says that if it's more, she will definitely shout it from the rooftop / the mountaintop / the hill that's over there. And it's Shamia and Portia. Shamia and Portia hug, saying they love each other. I just love you. And then, Shamia, she be so happy and she be so giddy. She said, I got my best friend back. I don't have my luggage, but I got my best friend back. And then and Portia says, give me your finger and let me smell it. But then Shamia says that, no, blow my booty. I'm like, what now? Hole. Blow her booty hole. I said, okay then. All right then. All right. All right. I mean, that kind of... Anyway. But they're going to get dressed for the location to meet the Prime Minister. And then Angela calls her husband again. And I meant to tell y'all that Shamia, her husband, called her. Okay, no, not yet. But she has, they was getting ready to meet the Prime Minister, and everybody needs to get dressed and all that stuff. And then Portia said, is Angela in there? And I'm like, Portia, you know she in there. And Angela calls her husband and daughter to let Charles know she misses him. And he answered. And he was being so nonchalant and all that stuff. And then she pretty much told him that she needs to just feel, you know, she just needs to feel him. And I understood what she was saying. But she was saying like some reciprocation, like some love pretty much. Because he's so nonchalant and he just clean ignored her. When I say clean like a toilet seat with some bleach, that's how clean that he ignored her. I said, ooh, wait, the ghetto that it is. I said, God pray for him. And then they get from over there. And Shamia says, shot o'clock. And Britt feels like Shamia is being passive aggressive with her shade about having a shot. And Britt asks, how was the waterfalls? And Phaedra said, cold. And it was good. Then Portia said something about donations. Ooh, Lord. And why she's talking, say something about them donations? Because Portia said she let her know. Because I, contributed a donation. And then she had to let her know how much her donation was. And then Kelly says, yes, I understand pretty much. It's always good to give, and it's always good to give to, the less fortunate. And then that still was, like I said, that still was Shamia's MO to go and get a crack pop-a-locking and dropping and crack-a-lacking. And Shamia said that you can't pull up in a Rolls Royce and carry Birkin bags and not give anything. And then Kelly, she agreed and all that stuff. And I said, then the girl, Britt said, well, you're supposed to be my best friend, but you're not. And then Britt said that Shamia was throwing shade at the table. And Kelly said that I totally agree. You have to give. And you have to give what you can. And then with an attitude, Britt said, girl, calm down. And she is aggressive. She is aggressive with Shamia. And Shamia said that she talked to Britt. No, Shamia said that she talked to Britt. And then Portia said out at your event. So she said, so you were saying that you want to support and everything at your event. And that was, event. And you said that you don't feel supported. And said that, Portia, you got to answer me. So she said pretty much that Portia cut her off. And, Britt was feeling some kind of way. And just to sum it up, Britt was feeling some kind of way because she felt slighted and she felt the passive aggressiveness that she said that Shamia was, throwing shade and all that stuff, which she was. I'm going to be honest, and she was. However, the whole point is, Britt, I'm like, girl, you could have couldn't get no more? You didn't have it? And she said that she gave what she had. And I said, And then she had an attitude with Portia. And pretty much saying that she didn't feel supported. And then she said, well, Portia, but you cut me off. And you didn't answer me. I said, okay. And then Portia just went on But then Shamia said, okay, well, the prime minister is on his way. The prime minister was on his way down the stairs, and the prime minister was cute. When I tell you he was cute, he was cute. And it went from girl, calm down, and all that stuff. And it went to a sweetie. And then Britt told Portia, he said, sweetie. And then Portia said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to be sweetie or anything like that. And I said, uh-oh. And then the prime minister come up. When I tell you he comes up. And then when he come up, then Shamia was saying, pretty much, calm down. Because the prime minister is on his way. And he is very cute. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. And all the ladies was in the confessional pretty much saying that he cute. And he said that he just stopped by to say hi. And the ladies wanted him, because Shamia said, okay, well, you can stop by. Or you can just sit down with us and just have a drink like that. And pull up a chair. And that's what he did. He pulled up a chair now. And had a drink. And Shamia and Drew was saying, of course, that he is the cutest. He cute. Mm-hmm. And then he said, because Shamia asked, did he have any kids? And then he said 17. And he said he had 2. He said he got a 17-year-old. And then I did not hear the other age. I didn't even get to hear the second child's name or the second child's age. And then he receives an anniversary. And then pretty much the prime minister, he just sat down and he just talked with him a little while longer. And then he told him, well, y'all have a good evening. And then he said, y'all enjoy y'all stay. And I'm glad that you are enjoying your stay. And then Angela receives an anniversary cake. And she said that she appreciates the support. And she said that, pretty much that she just feels, like a sisterhood. And Portia was, the person that, and Portia, I'm pretty sure Shamia too, they, got the cake for her. And I said, oh, how cute. It was so sweet, and it made her feel good. And Britt brought up again how we don't get to know each other. Okay. And then Britt brought it up again, saying the same thing about how she wasn't supported and all that stuff. And then Phaedra says that she has to, get to know the ladies pretty much and get to know everyone before she can just, because she's new to the group. And she said she has to get to know them and get to know their personalities and all that. And then Shamia gets a call from her husband about Shiloh and about the nanny. And I think it's Shia. So I'm going to stop saying Shiloh. That's my niece's name. But he talks about Gerald. He talks about how Shia, she has a temperature and she's not doing good. And then he expresses that the nanny was not doing her job and all that stuff. And then Shamia, she explains how she has like her 3 conditions. I can never remember them. But she said that she can't get too cold. Because if she gets sick, then how like a cold for her, she said it's going to be 10 times, 20 times worse than the average cold for the average child. So she has, some health issues. And she can't get to a certain temperature. And then Shamia, she, of course, was not feeling the best. And then her husband, Gerald, said, well, if she doesn't get any better, then he'll take her to the hospital tomorrow. And then Shamia is blaming herself and says that she is not feeling the best. And Shamia, she cries. And everyone, comforts her and says it's just going to be okay. And then, lastly, honey, everybody was comforting her, and they were just being supportive and all that. And then Bruce said, oh my God, girl, you know I got you. You know I love you. Anything you know I love you. I just love you. And then anything that we've been going through, we just gonna be, I got your back. I always got your back. I'm always have your back. We're a sisterhood. We're getting to know each other, but I'm gonna always have your back. And she said, give me a shot. I'll even take a shot. And then she went to get a shot, and then her and Shamia, they both take a shot. Then she said, okay, and I'm finna go make some champagne for you ladies. And then while she went to the kitchen, and she put her boobs on that countertop. I said, oh, no. Oh, my God. Now, that right there was the ghetto. Definitely some ghetto. I was just floored. And then I'm like, but you wanted to make the champagne for the little ladies. And then everybody said, well, Britt, she's fun when she has a lot to drink. And I said, And it's like all that happened in that episode for her to get to the fact that she want to go have the 2 shots and all that stuff. And I'm like, girl, okay. So that was season 16, episode 14, chapter 2, Renew. I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna get this review up, but the darn Britt, she's a little touched. And when I say touched, like this, not like this, but that kind of touch, slow touch. I'm like, girl. But that was the end of the episode. I'm going to get this uploaded here shortly, YouTube. And I want y'all to do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe. And I also want to say I got 2 new subscribers today. And I have a total of 30 subscribers. And I am so excited and so happy. And I want to tell everyone that has subscribed so far, thank you so much for helping me. And then we just gonna keep growing from 30 to 60, from 60 to 100, from 100 to 150, from 150 to 200. We gonna get there, y'all. But I got faith in y'all, and just keep listening to your girl. Bye, YouTube.